Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is Ariabba and today I want to talk about storytelling. Being an artist requires a lot of skills. The more obvious ones are the technical ones, but painting can be more than shapes and colors. And with my paintings, I want to tell stories. So how do we do that? Let me talk about it and share my thoughts. If you wonder why you have some paintings and drawings that lack engagement, that might be because they lack a connection with the viewer. Without that connection, an image can feel cold, lifeless. And we are exposed to a lot of images every day, so an image like that can be easily forgotten. Like many others, I started drawing because I wanted to express myself, to say something. Yes, I like drawing and I enjoy it in general, but I still want to tell stories with my illustrations. I want to share my feelings with others. We humans have been telling stories since the dawn of time. Think about ancient art like in Egypt or in caves, and the whole transformation of art through history. So we humans need to feel and share emotions with others. And this is what I think about when I start a painting. I try to think of a narrative that would connect with other people. It may sound a bit overwhelming, but one idea is to look in my own experience and find something people can relate to. If you draw from your feeling and experiences, it's going to feel more authentic, more real. Look out for things that inspire you. What are the things that you like and what are the things that you hate? What strong emotion have you experienced recently, maybe? What kind of stories do you want to tell? It's not about doing something cool. A really cool drawing can feel lifeless. It's about expression. If you're wondering when a painting tells a story, it's when it feels natural and it stirs emotion. Many of us go through the same experiences every day and we can relate when we see someone else going through it. It brings us memories and feelings in us, and we can feel empathy towards the others. So basically, many others can see your story and remember theirs. Of course, we are not making a movie. We only have one illustration, and this means one frame to tell these stories, and that's it. So it doesn't have to be a full written story with world building, complicated narrative, and intricate storylines. It can be just a feeling, just an emotion. Visual storytelling is all about conveying that one feeling that it matters and that people can relate to. So the first thing I want to ask to myself when I'm starting a piece is, what's the emotional impact that I want to obtain? That feeling is going to be my connection with the viewer. In this sketch, for example, I wanted this mermaid to discover something new, something that makes her wonder. This connection can make a totally made up and fantasy characters and creature feel like they are real. If you're able to obtain that feeling, then people can relate and empathize with your characters. And when you can relate with them, it makes and gives an impression that there's a whole world behind the scene. This is a very abstract, but once you understand it, your art is going to change forever. At least it did it for me. Okay, but how do I really tell a story practically with one single frame? Basically, I use every element of the painting that I have at my disposal to deliver this message. There are many things that can help you bring in the mood and the feeling you are looking for. The main ones are color, light, and composition. Colors have a huge emotional impact on every scene that we are looking at. A very colorful scene, for example, can give a very good, joyful vibe. And I can obtain that with high saturation and diversifying my colors. Don't mix your colors randomly though, because that can be really messy. Choose your color combination with the correct reasoning. Look at some of the basic color combinations online, for example. If we want to achieve a more sad scene instead, we can use mostly grays. Lowering the saturation makes it look like the sadness has taken out all the colors in our image, which is our way for expressing the feeling of sadness with only one frame. So ask yourself this. Are these colors going well with the idea that I'm trying to picture? In my sketch, I wanted everything to feel very calm, so overall I only used shades of blue, which is a cold color and gives a sense of calm. The only thing that disrupts this calm are the frogs. I chose a very vibrant red because this way they are completely taking over the attention and giving a big contrast with the rest of the scene. Light is also a thing that can definitely help. If I wanted to paint like a horror scene, a night scene would be great, with a lot of darks, and in fact, in horror movies you rarely see daylight scenes. We can also use composition and framing to draw the eye of the viewer. In many of my paintings, I use small elements like clouds, for example, to drive the eye of the viewer towards the main subject. Mastering composition can make a huge difference in the perception of your scene, and it can make the difference between an average one and ones that really stands out. Being a digital artist, remember to take advantage of your tools and being flexible with the process. It allows for more mistakes and redos, and we can transform an image and make it look different very quickly, as I show in my previous video on how to transform a scene from morning to sunset. Another thing that we can use at our advantage to tell a story is taking care of small details. By small details, I mean those little things that you can place around the scene or around the character, like props, for example. These things can make your backstory and your character backstory more believable. They may seem irrelevant, but if well thought and placed, they can make a huge difference in the perception of the viewer. One other very important thing that people often forget is that eyelines are very important. What I mean by this is, don't make your characters stare at you. They will feel cold, empty, and staged. How am I going to relate to a character that stares back at me? It should mind its own thing and feel its own emotions. In fact, this mermaid is staring at the frogs with surprise. Pushing and pulling forms helps as well. One big mistake I did in the past was that my characters would feel very stiff, because their pose didn't convey the emotion that I was trying to give them. So now when this happens, I go back to their line of action and I try to push more. If you know your anatomy, breaking it a little bit for the sake of expression is not gonna hurt your image. So if you wanna get better at this, I highly recommend to exercise with your line of actions and gesture drawing. Now, the real elephant in the room is, how do you generate story ideas? I gotta be honest, and sometimes they come to me in random moments, like shower thoughts, or maybe those moments before sleeping when I try to sleep but I can't because my brain doesn't stop. You know those, right? Sometimes ideas come from daily routine or from a memory of something meaningful. When all of this is blank though, and I don't have other resources, I do start writing. I'm not writing a story, I'm writing keywords. I think about the core concepts or feeling, and I write visual elements down that I can connect to it. I showed this process in my full digital painting process. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out. The link is on the top of the screen. And finally, I write it down and I ask myself, who is doing what and why? And by answering these questions, the scene takes life. So this was it, folks. I hope it was useful, and if it was, as always, remember to smash the like button because it really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.